welcome back to another episode of Travis's Musings, where just about everybody in seasonal strategies is walking on cloud nine this week. But before we dive right into a lot of the obvious stuff, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure you click the little bell. That way you'll get notifications next time either myself or Matt post another video here on the YouTube channel. In addition to that, remember that none of us here on the TSPcalc YouTube channel, on the Seasonal Strategies group on Facebook, are financial advisors. We're just regular guys trying to get ahead in our retirement. And man, did we get ahead this week. There's been a lot of discussion on the group. We had to actually shut down comments yesterday for a little bit because it was getting out of hand. But here's the deal. Anybody who says that seasonal strategies was going to call a 15 or actually it's going to look like a 16% swing over the last 6 days is full of it. But what I can tell you is that we've encountered a black swan event with the coronavirus. If you don't know what a black swan event is, it's essentially a circumstance that's unforeseen that massively affects the stock market. Nobody saw coronavirus coming. It's not a economic policy. It is a freak incident, and it has affected the stock markets negatively. But what I can tell you is that with seasonal strategies, for example, on my own, on 85-4-25, I'm out of the market 42% at a time, which means that I've got, on base statistics alone, a 42% chance of missing a black swan event. And you could say, well, Travis, but you also have a 42% chance of missing out on some amazing gains. And that's true. But I will also say that drops in the market tend to be rather sudden, where gains tend to stretch out over a longer period of time. And so there's a pretty decent chance that when you're dealing with some of the unpredictability of the market, that you're going to be back in, at least for some of those gains. But you've got a pretty good chance of missing some of the catastrophic events like we saw this week. And I'll also note that while I don't believe it's a seasonally, that you're not able to predict black swan events or major market drops with seasonality, I think that these events tend to manifest during times where the stock market may be a little bit weaker historically. And like we said, a lot of these times that we're out of the stock market are times like this week where earnings are pretty much all wrapped up and there's really not a lot of good news that people are looking for to help offset. Coronavirus has been out since December. We've talked about it all through January. We talked about it all through the huge run up in February. And it's only after earnings season that everybody turned and said, hey, maybe we should start paying attention to the coronavirus. And oh my gosh, it's spreading, et cetera, et cetera. So while I'm not going to sit here and tell you that seasonality called the coronavirus, because that's ridiculous, I'm also going to say that the effect on the stock market was likely exacerbated by a historically poor performing time during the year. And that might be a controversial statement, but this isn't the first time I've seen seasonals do this. I mean, now granted, it was pretty, you have to get Brian to run the statistics on it. I mean, really, this move for most of the popular strategies, at least all the beer bet people, minus Matt, who's now in extra last place, it hit it right on the nose. And that was pretty fun for us to watch. Of course, there's a lot of people out there who are freaking out about their retirement. I don't blame them. I mean, we saw, as you're going to take a look at the charts here in just a minute, if this holds today, and I think it was, last I checked, it was around the C and the S were minus basically 2%, and the F fund was up 0.75%. And so if that holds, it's looking like almost a 16% swing over the last 6 days. And so what that equates to for those of you who are not mathematically inclined is for every $100,000 in your account, you would have lost 16 of it. And that's a huge number. That's almost a fifth of people's retirement accounts. And there's a lot of people who are pretty nervous that this might roll into a bear market, and I don't know if it will or not. But when we're talking about that subject as well, I did make my IFT today. Or actually, I made it yesterday, to go into the S Fund at close of business today, Friday, February 28th. And I'm I should say I'm not really nervous because I got so far ahead of buy and hold, which, as I've stated repeatedly, is always my goal, is to beat buy and hold. And so over the next 2.5 months, I'm only out of the equities portion, CNS, 6 days. And I think that I've got while we may have a continued downturn, at the end of the day, I'm playing with house money, as somebody so eloquently put on the Facebook group. And I'm okay taking the risk that it's going to continue to drop, because I think on the flip side, there's a lot of room to run on this. Yes, the coronavirus is causing problems, and yes, it is causing some fear that I think is a little unwarranted. It does, whatever my feelings on the matter, does not affect the fact that it is affecting the stock market. It is going to affect industry and business, especially tourism. And there's going to be some negative effects, but hopefully, we can pull out of that. Hopefully things start calming down. Either the virus starts to get under control as we move into the spring and out of flu season, some things. So we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. And hopefully we stop at a correction and don't enter a bear market, because nobody likes to hang out in a bear market. It's not as much fun as a bull. But anyway, so let's see. So, and like I said, I'm going to be in equities for basically the next 2.5 months before we hit our summer turn. And we'll go ahead and take a look at that when we switch over to the computer here in just a second. But again, I kind of want to say, before I move on, thank you to the Facebook group for not, for keeping your heads for the most part. There was a couple incidents over the last week, and but for the most part, everybody did a great job. And like I said, we turned off comments yesterday because there was new posts every 7 seconds about, a lot of it was nonsense, some of it wasn't. And so we apologize for those of you who made quality posts who didn't get through. But we were trying to limit the amount of information that was disseminated, mostly so we could take a look at Brian's comment. It should be noted that Brian's comment is not supposed to detract from seasonality. A lot of people use seasonality in different functions, either strictly, like myself, use that as a guide, which is something like Anthony or Brian sometimes do. And it's okay to reevaluate your position. We shouldn't be seen here as zealots that if you don't follow exactly the strategy, then you're kicked out of the group and whatnot. But we do like to focus and keep our eyes on seasonality as a whole. So anyways, that's why those comments got shut off, and hopefully we will be resuming back to normal at the start. Actually, I think they got unlocked today, so I think we're back to posting normal today. So anyways, let's go ahead and swap over to the computer, and we'll take a look at some of the charts. Okay, guys. And you can see the first chart I have pulled up here is essentially my trade that I executed last Wednesday, all the way through close of business last night. It does not include today, though I will tell you that the S fund finished down minus 1.19, the C fund finished down 0.82, and the F fund did finish up 0.75, which essentially gave us a 14.5% swing on this move, which is just incredible. I mean, this week we're going to be talking about this week for a long time. But hopefully this is not the last time we're able to catch an event like this. So, and it should be noted that there was a little bit of a rally at the end of the day, and hopefully that rally brings some more buyers to the table, and we can kind of ride this wave back up and kind of get a double whammy out of it, which would be nice. Nobody really wants to go into a bear market, so. But you can see here, I mean, we could not have hit this any perfectly. The moment we moved into the F fund, it was on a nice even trajectory, and then again it went up another 0.75% today. And so we're buying in our S fund shares essentially just over 13% lower than they were on the day that we left. And that's pretty fantastic. I mean, that's really what we're after when we're doing this playing seasonality, is, the old adage, buy low, sell high, and we really hit it on the nose on this one. So we're gonna. There's really not a lot to talk about on this chart other than to bask in its glory. You can see, I think Matt somewhere down here. He kind of fell down the slide. But let's bounce on over here and to TSPcalc. So everything you see here is included in the free membership. You can take a look at strategies and search for strategies and compare them.
I have my own strategy, 85 425 pulled up prominent here. And we have the beer bet crew here, Matt, Jaron, and Larry. And we're all, myself, Jaron, and Larry are all in the same funds right now. So I will remain 1/3% behind them for the foreseeable future, unless one of those guys decides to deviate a day or two, and we'll see if they actually admit to that, if it costs them, if it costs them a win. So let's go ahead and really focus in on March. So right now we are at, as of last night, 4.14% average. That's what January and February. Sorry, I shouldn't say as of last night. That was kind of confusing. January and February. If we were to come at the end of February, we need to be at 4.14% to maintain our average mean through the first 2 months historically. Right now, with the close today, we are likely pushing up against 5%. So we're actually about 0.75% ahead. And it's fun to look up here at some of these barrier numbers and really hope for something like these 3 years in a row. But I'm not getting ahead of myself here. This was 1 week out of 52, so it's a long year. So looking ahead to March, we are going to be in the market quite a bit, 2.5 months, March and April. I'm only out of the market for 6 days, and that goes all the way up until the middle of May. And so we've got a lot of time here to watch. I expect there to be some volatility. I don't think we're quite done with this coronavirus issue yet, but hopefully we stay in correction status and don't dip below 20% and enter bear market status. But nothing that I do will change that, so I'm going to keep sticking with my strategy and seeing how it goes. So that again, I kind of talked about it in the intro, but there has been some discussion on that, and to be honest, I wouldn't blame any of you guys for exiting and staying in the G fund or staying in the F fund for the foreseeable future and just trying to watch this volatility. But I would also caution you that there is some danger to being whipsawed on that. Because we don't know where the bottom is, and just like we don't know where the bottom is, we don't know when the rise is about to start. So I have constantly made the decision and espoused the adage that I am not Travis Schwab, and I do not have I don't have the skill to go ahead and guess the market on what it is. So I stick with my strategy, and it's worked out pretty well for me for the last couple of years, and we'll see how it goes. So.
Okay, guys, and thanks for watching. That wraps up another episode of Travis's Musings, and we'll look forward to some more videos next month. And don't forget to head on over to TSPcalc and sign up for their premium membership. It's only $19.99. And the amount of information and features you get for $20 for a year is unbelievable. Similar products elsewhere are hundreds of dollars, and Matt wants to keep this affordable and keep the information available for everybody. So if you head on over to TSPcalc, the premium membership, that includes your color trading day calendar, and in addition you get the trading day comparison tool, and finally you also get access to text and email alerts up to 24 hours before your trade. So it's a pretty good value for what you get, and it helps support the website and the continued microbrew addiction that Matt has. So anyways, guys, hey, thanks for watching. Make sure, again, you guys hit the subscribe and the bell down below, and we'll catch you next time.